The mind listener. Among the countless mysteries in the world, the human mind remained the most unexplored. What if we could listen to the human mind? Wouldn't that be incredible? This idea came from a young inventor named Haru. He secluded himself in a small lab at home, wrestling with prototypes every day. He kept experimenting with small antenna-shaped devices, soldering electronic circuits tirelessly. Haru had only one dream: to create a device that could capture the voice of the human mind. One night, the lab door quietly creaked open. "Haru, you haven't slept for 3 days, have you?" It was a warm, gentle voice. A small woman with kind eyes, Haru's mother, Midori, entered with a steaming cup of coffee. "Don't push yourself too hard," Midori said as she placed the coffee on the desk and gently touched Haru's shoulder. That warmth was the most reassuring thing in the world. "Thanks, Mom. I'll hang in there a little longer," Haru said with a smile. His eyes were bloodshot from lack of sleep, but they still held a sparkle. And then, just a few days later, Haru finally completed it. A small antenna-shaped device. He named it the Mind Listener. Just by wearing it on your head, the inner voice of the person in front of you would flow directly into your ears. In theory, it was perfect. But whether it actually worked or not, Haru didn't yet know. With hope and anxiety swirling in his chest, he quietly stared out the window. At that moment, Haru noticed a queen ant walking along the window frame. "Should I try it?" Half-jokingly, Haru kept the mind listener on his head and focused his attention on the queen ant. Nothing. He heard absolutely nothing. Of course, that made sense. The structure of an ant's brain and its consciousness are completely different from a human's. "Yeah, I figured," Haru chuckled to himself, wrapped the queen ant in a tissue, and gently tossed it into the trash can. Pulling himself together, Haru stepped outside with the mind listener still on his head. Haru stood on a sunlit street, the freshly completed mind listener on his head. His heart raced with a mix of nerves and excitement. He focused on the people passing by, and at that moment, voices flooded into his mind. "What should I eat next? Just thinking about my boss pisses me off. Man, I wish I could win the lottery." Like tuning a radio, people's inner voices poured into Haru's ears one after another. It worked. Haru trembled with joy. He had finally succeeded in hearing the mind. As he walked down the street, he peeked into the hearts of various people. A woman drinking coffee at a cafe. A businessman in a suit talking on the phone. A young mother pushing a baby stroller. Each had their own living, breathing thoughts. "This is amazing. What a wonderful invention," Haru thought from the bottom of his heart. But, just then, Haru noticed something strange. Occasionally, among the people passing by, there were those from whom he heard absolutely no inner voice. Nothing at all. Just emptiness. Silence. They walked normally, seemed to hold conversations normally. But inside, there was nothing. As if they were empty shells that simply moved. A chill ran down Haru's spine. That can't be. He checked the mind listener over and over, reset the settings, adjusted everything he could. Still the same. People who looked completely ordinary on the outside, yet among them, there were definitely those without minds. And it wasn't rare, roughly 1 in 10. An alarmingly high ratio. That night, Haru returned home with heavy steps. Under the living room lights, his mother Midori greeted him with a gentle smile. "Welcome home, Haru. You're back late." On the table was a steaming bowl of stew. A fluffy blanket lay ready on the sofa. "Are you feeling okay? You must have worked really hard today." His mother spoke gently, never letting go of her warm smile, comforting Haru in his exhaustion. With those words, the tension and unease in Haru's heart slowly began to melt away. But, still wearing the mind listener, Haru hesitantly focused his attention on Midori. Nothing. He heard nothing. A blank void. Total silence. There was no mind inside his mother. Haru was left speechless. He didn't want to believe it. That warm smile, those kind words, were they all just an act? No way. Haru, with trembling hands, removed the mind listener, checked it again and again, and readjusted the settings. Still, not once did he hear his mother's voice. Only emptiness. Haru was stunned as a horrifying thought came to him. Could it be? The people without minds are nothing more than NPCs, non-player characters in some programmed game? Or worse, what if this entire world itself is just a game created by someone? If this world is a game, then somewhere, there must be bugs. And if he could find one, maybe, just maybe, he could uncover the truth. Alright, I'll test it. Haru's eyes lit up with determination. Early the next morning, Haru began pulling strange pranks on his mother Midori to search for bugs. First, he shoved a big blob of mayonnaise into her nose while she was sleeping. "Wow, Haru, what are you doing?" Midori wiped her nose in surprise. "Well, yeah, that's the obvious reaction." Next, he innocently asked for 1,000,000,000 yen as his allowance. With a smile, Midori replied, "1,000,000,000,000 might be a bit much, but I'll give you a little extra this month." "No, come on, if this is a game, it should be able to generate unlimited money." Then, he swapped the liquid in her eye drops with Tabasco sauce. As soon as Midori used them, she winced in pain and dashed to the bathroom. Ow, ow, ow. But a few minutes later, she returned as if nothing had happened. "Those eye drops were kind of weird. I guess I need to buy new ones," she said calmly. That's way too human of a reaction. Every reaction was something a normal human would do. No behavior resembled a glitch. Haru gradually began to lose confidence in what to believe. Haru's strange behavior toward his mother eventually led his father to report him. He was restrained and locked in a small room that felt like a prison cell inside a psychiatric hospital. A narrow, cold room. No windows, only the dim, eerie light from the ceiling's fluorescent lamp. Haru lay on the bed, staring blankly up at the ceiling. "So, I'm the crazy one? Is this world actually real?" His thoughts swirled in his head. Exhausted, he shut his eyes, and in that moment, the word "quit" gently appeared in his vision. Haru gasped. "I knew it. This really was a game." Tears welled up in his eyes. He wasn't the one who had gone insane. The world had been broken from the start. Without hesitation, Haru selected quit. Suddenly, his consciousness returned. Before him was a strange space he had never seen before. The walls gleamed like metal. On a giant screen, the words "Game Over" were displayed. Haru was pressed flat against the floor in front of a high-tech arcade machine. And then he realized, his body had a black exoskeleton. He was an ant. This is a massive arcade. Countless ants crowded around arcade machines. Haru, or rather, the being who once was Haru, looked up again at the screen of the arcade machine. The LCD showed a play history. Player character, Haru Nakajima. Occupation, inventor. Playtime, 17 years. Status, terminated. Result, game over due to self-destruction. And just as he finished reading that text, the display suddenly changed. "You are an ant, remember?" Haru stared blankly at the screen. So it really was a game. He looked around once more. In the vast space were countless ants, each facing an arcade machine. So many worlds, so many lives, all just forms of entertainment. Just then, someone spoke. "Morning." He turned his vacant eyes to the side and saw another ant. Upon closer inspection, the ant was munching on something. It was the dried white corpse of a queen ant. Haru croaked out a question. "Hey, where are we?" Without stopping its chewing, the ant replied matter-of-factly. "This is sublevel 3853 of the ant nest. Everyone who returns from a game can't remember stuff for a while." "What happened to me? The human me?" Haru asked again. "It's on autopilot," the ant answered. Haru widened his eyes. Or at least, he tried to, but his eyes didn't change size at all. When the player quits the game, the character switches to autopilot. Right now, you're probably living your life in the human world as if nothing happened. But that's no longer the real you. Haru couldn't say a word. Bit by bit, his memories as an ant began to return. "That's right, I remember now, as an ant, I came here to the arcade with my mother. And in the game, she played my mother too, as my human mom." But when he looked around, he didn't see her anywhere in the arcade. Haru, trying to stop his knees from trembling, asked one more question. "What about my mom? What happened to my ant mother?" Munching on the queen ant's leg, the other ant answered calmly. "That queen ant you wrapped in tissue and threw away in the game, that was your mother." Haru was speechless. The ant continued. "Your mom took a bathroom break during the game, and for whatever reason, she didn't return to it. Instead, she went above ground and directly checked on you in the human world. That's how that whole tragedy started." Haru froze in shock. "She went to see me. She had wings. After using the bathroom, she probably went above ground to dry them. And while she was at it, checked on the human me. And I threw her away with my own hands. That's why she's now running on autopilot in the human world." Haru's body trembled uncontrollably. He tried to put his hands on the floor, only to realize they were already there. Seeing that, the ant beside him attached a certain device to Haru's head. Click. What is this? Antennae? Haru asked with a hollow look in his eyes. Munching on wings, the ant replied. It's your mind, listener. You gave it to me, the attendant, before starting the game. Don't you remember? It was a revolutionary invention in the human world, but here, it's no more useful than a pair of earphones. We ants usually talk with our minds. In a civilized society like this, have you ever seen an ant go out of its way to talk with its mouth? Now, go ahead, try listening to the inner voice. No way. Exhausted and broken, Haru hesitantly focused his awareness toward the mind. Just then, from the ant biting into the queen ant's head, Haru clearly heard a mind voice. Just like mom used to taste.